Hello fish fans. Now I've been a compulsive all-round angler for just shy of 40 years.
In 2017 I decided to focus almost exclusively on catching wild and very often uncaught carp from rivers.
There are 5 main rivers in my home county, and so far I've been lucky enough to catch carp over 20 pounds from 3 of them in consecutive seasons. This gave me the idea of trying to complete the full set by catching a 20 pound plus carp from the remaining 2 and to film everything as I go.
My day job keeps me pretty busy. I don't have a lot of time for fishing. Nevertheless, the recent lockdown has made me more determined than ever to use my fishing time to the fullest extent.
So join me as I try to complete this challenge and share with you the highs and lows of each session as I go. I'm James Jenner and welcome to the River Carping Challenge vlog. It's time. So we've made it. It's June the 15th, it's now 8 o'clock. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, just couldn't sleep at all last night. I've just come off a run of 15 weeks of night shifts at the hospital and I'm a little bit nocturnal. So it's taken me a little while to get back into the swing of things. Of course, best antidote for that, fishing. Anyway, we're here on what we'll call river number 4. Yes, we've done 3. This is river number 4. Club we joined has a huge amount of this river. There's tidal stretches, there's non-tidal stretches, there's splits, there's weirs, there's locks, there's everything you could possibly imagine. The other rivers we've fished before have all got their own sort of characteristics. This one, I said to Lee, is like the Yateley of Sussex rivers in that it's busy. It's renowned over the years for producing carp. It's produced some big ones, allegedly up to high 30s. So, yeah, I won't say anything about that. The club record for a common is mid to high 30s. I've definitely seen evidence of fish that are mid to high 20s. And it's a tidal river, just like any other one. Who knows? It's totally open. There could be anything swimming about in there. Anyway, tonight we've decided we're going to do 2 nights as a little treat for opening day, opening night, whatever. On the tidal stretch, we are about 3/4 of a mile walk from where we have to park the car on rough old terrain. Cows have just joined us in the field, replacing the sheep. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful looking spot. Yeah, it's just absolutely breathtaking. You've got the hills in the background on the skyline, fields as far as the eye can see. We are literally miles from the nearest road. It's just stunning. Everything you want from a little river carpet adventure. Now, we've not actually been pre-baiting this stretch. We've walked it up and down it several times. And as with most parts of this bank, it's completely overgrown. So all I've done is carve myself out a little area for my rods, enough to be able to land a fish. Introduced a little bit of bait, so I've gone with my kind of bog standard tidal river mix, I suppose you'd call it. 2 kilos of hemp, a few scoops of my special tiger nuts, and a kilo of 22mm switch boilies. Will we catch? Who knows? At this point, I really don't care. I need to be out on the bank and doing it. I've been looking forward to this for such a long time, and I'm so tired. Like it doesn't feel like I'm actually here and doing it. If that makes any sense to you, you plan for a holiday for weeks or months and months and months and months and months, and you're so excited all the way leading up to it. But then like the weeks leading up to it, before you actually go, you're so busy that when the time comes and you're actually there, it takes you a while to actually settle in and go, oh, I'm here, we're actually doing it. And that's exactly how I feel right now. I'm sure it'll all come good once I've had some sleep. But yeah, that's it for now. We are set up and ready. Young Lee is 70, 80 yards just up the bank from me. We all know he's the man, he's bound to catch one. But we'll see. Anyway, I'll come back to you soon.
As carpy backdrops go, you could do a lot worse.
Shadows. Hello. To go. There's the maestro. Quite a pretty picture. So, you're probably just about seeing amongst the grass there, I've taken the old Fox swingers out of retirement rather than using bobbins and the normal hangers. And the swingers, you can adjust the weight on them, and I think it does give you a little bit more control with these tide runs. As you can see, it's pretty savage compared to how it was before. When the tide pushes, it really does come in fast. But you know, it'll still give me indications if a bream's picked me up or whatever else. But hopefully it'll just keep everything fairly still. Business end, I mean, I don't want to bore you to death with rigs, there's enough videos out about that, but 2 different rigs on there. Margin rod's going to be fished on tigers, and it's just you know, a gripper rig, essentially a wide gate bit of silicone with a curve, like a kicker. The usual 25-pound Fox Camatech semi-stiff. Tubing, main line is 30-pound braid. Just any tidal river, there's all manner of snags and roughly down there. There's a lot of swan mussels living in the bottom, and if I am lucky enough to hook anything decent, I believe braid gives you a better degree of control. But largely it's for the beefiness of it. I don't want to be losing fish due to snags or rubbing up against stuff. So yeah, 30-pound braid. With tubing, obviously essential if you're going to be fishing with braided mainline. You don't want to be rubbing scales off a fish or damaging them in any other way. You just use enough tubing that you would need to protect the flank of a half decent carp. The other one, bog standard really, that's my go-to river carping, very boring rig. Same hook length again, 25-pound Camatech semi-stiff, straight through to a size 4 curved shank. Big long hair for a 22mm bottom bait and a 15mm pop-up. Same again, flat pair 3-ounce lead, bit of tubing, flying back lead, and then I've got my captive back legs as well, just keep everything nice and pinned down during all this tide flow. Will it work? We'll see in about 4 hours, I suppose. Okay, big man, talk us through your approach. Don't need to tell us what bait you're using, but tell us about your rigs. I know you like to keep things simple and strong.
Yeah. Rigs.
Talk us through your rigs.
15-pound fluorocarbon, size 6, wide gape, 2 boilies, straight through, simple, it's not loop on one end. Lead clip, 4-ounce lead.
4 ounce?
Yep, 4-ounce lead, bit of lead core, just lower them in the edge.
Nice. And how many baits are you putting out over each rod?
About 50 around each rod.
50 around each, cool.
Then a few after every bit, any action.
Nice. Ooh, hello, that's a bigger fish.
Yep.
Big swirl just boshed over on the other side there in front of the lead. There's definitely a lot more fish movement, as always with the tidal rivers. Once the tide starts to run, everything just starts to move a lot more. There's definitely some bigger fish in this spot. Cool. So obviously we do approach these things a little bit differently, you and I, which is always good, because if one of us starts hauling them in, the other one can change over onto what's working.
Yep.
But like, how long will you leave it before you top up the bait if you don't get a take?
12 hours.
12 hours, that's cool. There you go, that's definitely a carp.
Yep.
Let's see if I can just get that straightened up. either a carp or a bloody great big sea trout. You never know on tidal rivers. That looked very carpy to me though. Of course, right in the big man swim. Where else would it be? But yeah, so those that have watched the other video river carping video will know, obviously. But I had the bream, I had the chub, and I'd put out 2 kilos of hemp, half a kilo of tigers, kilo of boilies, all 20 millers. Had those fish on bags, and then just fished boilies. But I left them out. Woke up in the morning and just had a lazy one. But I just sat by the rods, loving life. Do you know what I mean? Watching the water, watching the chub, watching the mullet go up and down, taking photos of the cows and stuff, and just didn't wind in purely through being lazy. Now, eventually one did melt off, like 16, 17 hours after it had been there. And it sort of got me thinking, you know, but you drive yourself mad with that sort of thing. You wind in after 16, 17 hours to find you've got a twig impaled on your hook, or, you know, your line's just completely ensnared with shite or, you know, swan mussels or anything. If you'd recast, you could have had one. On the other hand, if you'd left it, you know, one might have been picking it up just as you were about to wind in. It's hard, isn't it? That's interesting, no 12 hours. And you're going with 15 miller boilies?
Yep.
Cool. That's your go-to, isn't it?
Yes.
Nice. Well, let's see what happens. Here's Lucky Lee's swim. As always, I'm sure you've all got fishing mates like it. When you look at a swim, you think, nah, it's naff, wouldn't want that one. They sit in it for 10 minutes and then like you come back and you're like, hang on a minute. That looks amazing. What's going on here? No, it's a cracking bit of water. There's quite a lot of pace moving through like that tide's up. It must be close to the top now, do you reckon?
Yeah, it's got far off.
Yeah, it is a stunning evening. As with always with river carp, yeah, it's awesome to catch, and yeah, it would be good to get a 20. I don't really want to get one on the first night, because then it's like, well, I've got to move on the river now. I won't, but it really is just about being there. You can't beat it. As I said before, like, we do consider this to be the Yateley of waters. Even though we got here, we were down the river at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Bear in mind we can't cast out till midnight. We were down the river at 4. There were already 3 cars in the car park and 3 bivvies set up along here. Which, considering how remote and how far a walk it is from the car park, that's pretty impressive. So yeah, it's going to be one of the few rivers where you're constantly fishing up against other anglers, rather than just picking a spot, filling it in and going for it. I think there are definitely some non-tidal stretches that will benefit to more of a kind of stalking mobile approach. So that'll be well worth a look a little bit later in the year. But we're having a treat and having a little 2-nighter because it's opening night, and why not? I think if we were going to be anywhere along this stretch, though, this is a place to be. It looks absolutely awesome.
Nice. Let's try to get back now.
Easy, tiger. Yummy. Right, wasn't it?
Yeah, from the brushes.
Whoa. Shit at the end. No, not quite. Yep.
He is now anyway.
That's cool. Just bring yourself this way a little bit if you can, just get the tail out of the shadow a little bit more. That's perfect.
Oh, getting photo bombs. Hello. Alright, so it's 8 in the morning on, don't know what day it is, Wednesday the 17th. Lee managed 2 on opening day. He had a £16 mirror at 3 in the morning on the 16th, and yesterday evening he had a little mirror, £5-6, but you know, pretty cool, still a little river carp from the tidal. My rods have been motionless, apart from when I've rebaited and repositioned them. Absolutely nothing's happened for me at all. It's the way it goes, isn't it? What can you do? Not much. So just had a little wake up call. Got up at 6 this morning. Cows munching the grass behind me, and had something to eat and a coffee, and then went back to bed because it was freezing last night. Anyway, Lee just popped down and said, "Am I awake?" I am now. He's got a comment in the net. Let's go and see what it is.
Here we go then, guys. Wednesday 17th, 8 in the morning. True to form, Lee's given me an absolute spanking. This is number 3. 16?
Yep.
£16 common from the tidal, first time of asking. Happy days. Well done, buddy.
Yep.
Very happy for you.
Thank you very much.
So, it's the top of the final tide for this trip. Lee now on 3, 16 mirror, small mirror, and a 16 common, which is just amazing fishing, absolutely exceptional. We've never ever fished this river before, no pre-bait, no nothing. Just a good long walk from the car park to find a good spot. And for Lee it's paid off massively. I've had nothing, but there you go, can't grumble. It's opening weekend, well, opening trip, so we're all good. I will certainly be back. If there's anything I have noticed, it's that the carp he's caught all have really quite small mouths compared to the fish that I've fished for the other 3 rivers. So maybe my
20mm bottom baits and big ass pop-ups are just a little bit excessive. Who knows? Neither of us have picked up any bream or chub, and he's been fishing with simple 15mm, so maybe it's the way to go. We'll see. It's all a learning experience at this point. You know what they say, excuses are like bumholes. But yeah, it's not over yet, but very nearly. But certainly hasn't stopped me from coming back for another go. Voila!
He's an angry one. What do you mean?
Number 4. What else can you say? Just awesome angling. Well done, mate.
Cheers, bud.
Correct. Let's have a look at that now.
Yeah.
Awesome.